Greetings. I saw a series of questions that deal with movies on the Imagining Johanna channel today. Apparently it came out of the channel Neafcy, who recently did a very good talk about why he doesn't believe Alex Day, and it was very interesting and quite entertaining. So I'll link to both her video about these movies and his video that deals with Alex Day. And there are 6 questions. And with the bonus question, tacked on the end. So these deal with films, and I'm a film fan. As anyone who's watched my reviews or my bargain videos, I buy a lot of movies. Okay, number 1, what is the first film you remember seeing? I watched lots of films when I was a kid on television, particularly on the Disney, when they would show Disney things on television. So I'm sure it was probably a Disney thing. The first film I ever saw in the theater, it was probably something Disney or something like that. I don't have a memory of it. I can remember the first time I went to the theater with my grandfather, it was to go see All of the President's Men, which I was like 12. It was very strange, but all right. My grandfather was an odd man. 2, is it possible to have a favorite film, and if so, what is yours? Yes, I believe it is possible to have a favorite film, regardless of how many films you've seen. There's still possible to have and maintain a favorite film, and I've maintained the same favorite film since I first saw it, and that would be Blade Runner. 3, what films make you cry? I'm emotional about redemption stories, sacrifice stories, things like that. Those kind of things can pull at the heartstrings. I can't remember the last time I cried at a movie, now that I think about it, but that's the type of thing that can get me to cry. So yes, I can cry, and I get no problem with it. I don't mind crying in a film. 4, film would you like to magically climb into the world of? Well, this is interesting. It's a one-way trip. I'm assuming this is what they're discussing. You climb into the film. I would want to take all of my possessions and my wife with me. If I could do those, along with my cats, if I could do all that, I would probably choose the world of Star Trek. Because even the base minimum survival level, subsistence level in Star Trek universe is better than what I have what we have here as a social safety net. And as essentially a time traveler, I would probably be able to make considerably better money than that by giving talks about what it was like to live in the late 20th and early 21st century. I would probably do quite well at being interviews, write books, that kind of thing, or whatever the equivalent in the Star Trek universe of books is. 5, what movie characters do you wish you were more like? Well, it's like, do I acquire their characteristics, or am I just going to be act a little bit more like them? Now, if it's just me acting a little bit more like them, then again, it's going to be going along the lines of expanding my empathy, my sympathy, and my compassion. So characters that inhale those and contain those traits are going to be things. If I'm going to actually be able to subsume their abilities, their knowledge, things like that, well, there's Sherlock Holmes. There's the character. Wolverine would be good if you want to set up superpowers. SpiderMan isn't bad with the organic web shooters. Though if I had the mechanical ones, it means I would be a chemistry genius, and I would be a billionaire. So maybe we'll go with the Peter Parker version that has mechanical web shooters, and I could be a genius. The fact that Peter Parker is not in the same category as Tony Stark has always baffled me. So that kind of thing. There you go. 6, how have films influenced you on YouTube or elsewhere in your life? Well, again, they're catharsis. They're good, nice, distinct stories. I see them as myths, so that they can bring messages to us. They can show us the good and the bad in more of a kind of a Greek dramatic style where everything's kind of overblown. So yes, I think that they have influenced me. I've talked about them here, sometimes quite ferociously. But yes, I feel that films have probably influenced me in my real world life as well. And the bonus question is, what film or films do you hate and why? Well, I would say that the bad films. Not just in the sense of so bad they're funny, but just poorly done films that they lack. Like, for example, The Green Hornet. Now, people tell me that's a comedy. Well, it's a unique comedy in the fact that it contains no humor. And as a superhero film, it was just horrible. It was just a grotesque film. It was just so bad. I couldn't finish it. And that's a rarity. I finished watching Showgirls, which is, I often quote, people ask me, what's the worst film you've ever seen? I will say Showgirls. And one of the reasons I say that is because not only is it a horrible film, but it's a horrible film that contains incredibly attractive naked women, and yet it is still a horrible film. So those kind of things. But and also there are genres of films that I won't watch. Is it Cannibal Holocaust? A lot of the torture porn. I think they're horrible. We don't need them. There's enough real. Anyone who enjoys those films, you just need to go read the news. You just need to go read some actual history, because there are atrocities in the real world just as great, and then you would also be learning something. That the torture porn films are a waste of our time and our resources, and they speak to the ugliest, most vicious parts of our souls. So yes, there are those type of films. I despise them. I don't see them as have any value whatsoever. I understand there are people who see them purely as entertainment. I guess you're welcome to do that, but I'm not going to see them as being worth anything at all. I just think we don't need them. We have better ways of spending our time, like making another Guardians of the Galaxy film. There you go. So these have been some of my thoughts on the movies, and I'll link to Johanna's channel and to the original creator of this, Neafcy's article, video that he did about Alex Day, which I think is something that everyone should watch. So tell me, what are your thoughts on movies?